燃え強がって飛び乗って風に流って青空昨日を超えろ Hey everybody, welcome back to Talking Mons, our Digimon Adventure 2020 recap podcast. My name is JD and I'm here with Gary.
Hello.
And unfortunately, Jeanette had some prior engagements. I think she had to work or something. So she'll be back next time, and she'll probably give us her thoughts on these episodes then, as well as the next few episodes. But today we are covering episodes 35 and 36, The Glowing Angewomon. I'll let you pick a wild guess what that's about, and Operation Satellite Sniper. Which I have some thoughts about. But we'll go ahead and start with episode 35, The Glowing Angewomon. So this kind of continues off of episode 34, where all the kids are underwater. Gary, I don't know if you thought this was weird up until the point where they explained it, but like Agumon and Biomon are just sitting on top of the dog submarine, but they can talk and breathe underwater.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of convenient.
Yeah, it's like convenient because it's like, okay, we're underwater, but we need to do all this fight stuff. So we need like all the kids and the monsters to be able to breathe and talk underwater. And they just kind of wave it away, be like, oh yeah, Marine Angewomon gave us some of their power and we can breathe and talk underwater now.
Which they didn't show in the previous episode.
No, but it's literally just like a throwaway line. If you weren't paying attention, you'd still be confused. It's literally just Agumon like, thankfully Marine Angewomon gave us their power so we can breathe and talk underwater. That's like literally almost verbatim what he says.
Their fire attack works.
Yeah. Agumon, Greymon just shooting fireballs underwater because, you know, physics. Physics don't exist in the digital world. But so yeah, we're off from Marine Angemon's underwater city and they're cruising around underwater. Kari and Tailmon are still getting used to each other. And then they are attacked by an army of sea creatures until they meet Marine Devimon.
I did not remember seeing a Marine Devimon in other series. Like, I was guessing when I saw the three going, I just thought to myself, I was like, what is this? A Marine Devimon? And I was right.
Yes. I want to say Marine Devimon has shown up in previous seasons before. I don't remember exactly when. I did know he was a monster, so when he showed up, I'm like, oh, that's funny. But it's like he's a Devimon, but he's not the Devimon, so it kind of works, I guess. He's still like hella evil.
And he's one of the more, I guess, polite villain, I guess.
I mean, doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, I mean, during the whole dramatic moment between Kari and Tailmon, he was just sitting there. There's no attack, no nothing.
Yeah, there's just they have a whole conversation while Marine Devimon's just kind of standing on the side looking at them, just like, just hanging out, not doing much.
It's not like they're fighting Tai and Greymon. They were also sitting there listening to the conversation too.
Yeah, like everyone's just real invested in this conversation. I mean, good guys and bad guys. We just got to know what's going on with Kari and Gatomon, man.
I guess we are moving a little too ahead of ourselves because they did try to fight, and Gatomon / Tailmon was really hesitant about evolving.
Yeah, up until this point, Gatomon's had some like real like, what if I turn evil a thing? Like I spent so much time being Skull Nightmon that like, hey, what if that happens again? And there's like some like almost doing that. Like she gets a big silhouette of Dark Nightmon around her, and like you think that maybe she's gonna evolve into that and succumb to the darkness, but she gets over it with the help of a small child.
And then evolved to Angewomon. Angewomon,
Yeah.
sorry.
A half-naked angel lady with a helmet. Yeah, shows up, shoots an arrow, and defeats the darkness.
Very quickly.
Yeah, like the whole like Angewomon evolving and the fight, it all happens very quickly. There's not much to the fight. I mean, it's nice that we see Angewomon finally. Even though we only had Gatomon for a few episodes, it was inevitable that she was going to evolve. I am waiting for Gatomon to pull a Patamon here in a couple episodes where she just goes into her armor evolution instead of going into the angel form again.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because in the next episode, she didn't evolve.
Nope.
Even though it make more sense for her to evolve since everybody's flying.
Well, it's kind of fine because of what happens, and we'll get to it in the next.
Yes, I do agree.
But I mean, this show is really kind of showing that like Gatomon, has always been a champion level. So like she's on the same level as like Greymon, and so even though she's like tiny like everybody else, she's going around just like punching and kicking all the monsters and like doing just as much damage as everybody else. So that works.
It just feel a little unearned compared to like Patamon's journey, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of remember that being the same way in the original series too. Like there was this whole build up to Patamon, turning into Angewomon, but I feel like between the time of Kari becoming and Gatomon becoming partners and Gatomon turning into Angewomon, I feel like is a really there's a really short span of time there. In fact, if I remember right, it was because I think it was at the point where Myotismon like killed Wizardmon and that like put Gatomon in like to a state of shock or something, and I feel like it happened pretty short after that.
Yeah, but there was more dramatic build-up, even though it was a short time. Here, It just feels like it was a one episode thing that we discover her hesitation about evolving, and then it immediately is resolved in the same episode.
No, yeah, I totally get you. Yeah, I feel like they could have probably spent another episode or two, like really kind of driving home about how she's hesitant, and maybe like have an episode where they kind of almost lose a battle because of it.
Yeah, and Patamon, between Patamon and Pegasusmon, there was several episodes of like little build-up.
Yeah, yeah. Like Patamon was like trying to evolve, but didn't have. I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to tread that kind of water again. I don't know. It's weird, man.
Yeah.
But Angewomon's on the table now. Lord knows when we'll see her again. We've seen Angewomon like once. Yeah, we haven't seen him since.
At least that kind of makes sense because he's so weakened that's why he has a alternate evolution. Angewomon, I feel like that they might have pulled out the proverbial trump card a little soon.
Yeah.
And then now we might just keep.
Yeah,
we might just keep on wondering, why doesn't Angewomon just come back?
Yeah, and maybe they will do that. Maybe they'll explain like, oh, well, I have to turn into Nefertimon now because of reasons. Which, whatever. Well, do you have any other thoughts about this episode? I think I've kind of said my piece on it. I mean, it was an okay episode. Angewomon shows up, which is nice, but all in all, it was like, you could have done more with this, but
yeah, I just feel like Angewomon just deserves a little more grandeur.
Yeah, totally. So then we'll go ahead and move on to episode 36, Operation Satellite Sniper, aka Izzy Saves the World.
Yeah,
almost single-handedly.
Yeah, Izzy had his mind palace.
He did, man. Like I was saying during this thing, like, fucking get Izzy into NASA like now, because this guy is like calculating trajectories of like satellite falling and doing like all this like big brain math, and I'm like, bruh, get this guy into like some like genius grant or something, because literally this kid is saving the world almost by himself.
Oh, actually, before we start talking about the episode, I was not with the little like end card preview of the next Digimon evolution that Izzy's going to talk about. I was completely expecting that would be a evolution of Kabuterimon. For what?
Oh, instead of Greymon getting the evolution.
Yeah, I guess I'm both jumping ahead and going back.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that because I was very surprised by that.
Yeah.
But basically, this episode is like Izzy finally reunites with Tysora, TK, and Kari, which I love the like very casualness of when they show up. They're like most of the gang, like the rest of the gang, is like still on the giant dog tank submarine thing, and like Izzy and Tendamon are just hanging out next to a rock, and they just casually wave at him like, "Hey, over here, by the way," and they just go pick him up. And then Izzy's all like, "Well, we figured out that the space station is going to crash on Tokyo. We don't know exactly where in Tokyo, but it's going to do that. If we do this thing, we can knock the space station out of its trajectory, and so it won't crash into the city." Yeah. I'm still not exactly sure how this worked, but
they meet up at the, I guess, the Ethernet cable, the internet port,
I guess,
or whatever.
but I like don't know how. I don't know how that exactly translates to this satellite that's falling out of the sky is gonna somehow divert its trajectory, its fall trajectory.
Well, the whole point of following the pillar of internet into, the internet. Sorry, I'm getting repetitive. That's not the actual plan. That's getting there. The actual plan.
No.
To
like,
shoot
I get the plan. I get that they find this giant pillar of light, which is a wormhole back to the internet land that is like a level above the digital world. I get that part. I still don't understand what is he shooting a laser beam at this can full of those weird yellow jellyfish blobs that have been fucking up the network. I don't understand how this object that is falling from the sky, like, is it activating some jet propulsion on the space station that is shooting it off into a different direction? Or something, but they don't really explain. They just said, if we do this thing, the space station will not fall in the city. And they don't really elaborate beyond that.
They did kind of elaborate, saying that they could like change the trajectory.
Well, that's the thing. They said they can change it. They don't say how. They just kind of said, if we shoot this thing, the trajectory will change. Not exactly sure how that works, but it's a show for children, so I guess I shouldn't question it too much.
Well, the in the real world, all the adults in the space centers all keep saying the thruster won't initiate thrusters.
Oh.
So
maybe I just missed that.
I guess that kind of implied with both of these things combined that Izzy had to clear the way for the thruster to engage.
I just like that when he saves the day, his crest symbol flashes up on like NASA's screens.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And it's like, in the real world, someone would take that as a terrorist threat. Like, that's like, there's going to be like several government agencies trying to decipher what that symbol means.
Maybe
and it's like, is this tied to Al Qaeda? I don't know.
Maybe it's one of those things that only children can see again. Kind of like the battle.
Maybe it's more symbolic for the audience.
Yeah.
But yeah, so everyone reunites. They end up finding this giant pillar of light that is surrounded by a bunch of giant monster skulls.
But at the same time, it's also shooting out electricity that they are not immune to, but the enemies are.
Yeah, because there's all these like little metal bug dudes that apparently live on the tower because it shoots out electricity, and so they've grown. I like that they start talking about like adaptation, like actual evolution terms, like, oh yeah, these guys have just adapted to their environment. So they live in this place that's constantly giving off electricity. They adapted to feed on electricity, I guess.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, and so they're trying to, like, everyone's trying to travel up this giant beam of light to get to the wormhole, and all these bugs are like coming at them, shooting electricity at them, and they have to keep like breaking off to like like Garudamon's like, okay, I got this one. Pegasusmon's like, okay, I got this group, and like the group just kind of keeps breaking up as they keep going up forward. And so they're trying to fight this, like, it's called Meta Life Kawagumon, or Metal Life. I don't know. He looks like a Metabot, honestly.
Yeah. Man, this name keeps getting more and more complicated.
Right, man. There's just keep adding adjectives on the front of names, and you'll get there. But yeah, kind of what we alluded to is that we have all this electricity going around, and like, okay, well, Tentomon, his element is electricity. Maybe this is where we get fucking Hercules Kabuterimon, his mega evolution. Nope. We are going to further hammer in that this story is about Tai and Agumon. Yeah, Blitz Greymon, everybody.
Yeah,
Agumon adapts to the electric environment and gets another mega evolution.
The bad guy Digimon basically attacked Metal Greymon until he's basically brushing up against the pillar.
Yeah.
And it shocked him so much that he adapted and evolved.
Because that's how that works. No, like, I was very surprised when Greymon started to evolve. I thought he was going to just go back into War Greymon. Like, I thought it was like, okay, I've had enough of this shit. We're going to just finish this now, which I don't know why they just don't solve all problems like that, but I'm sure there's a reason. But nope, they're like, oh, hey, this red War Greymon who has giant cannon gun arms and shoots electricity now. That's a thing.
Yeah. I was expecting that Metal Greymon would de-evolve, and then Kabuterimon have to get into his mega.
Yeah, exactly. That's how
the day.
Yeah, that's exactly where I thought it was gonna go. But no. Agumon gets another mega evolution. Cool, I guess. He's the only one who's achieved mega status, and he has 2 of them. I do like that because Tai basically tells Izzy to go ahead and go through the wormhole to finish the mission. So Izzy and Mega Kabuterimon go do that. I do like that when Mega Kabuterimon is going to fire off his shot to destroy the little yellow goo monsters to right the space station's trajectory. I like that you get like a silhouette of Hercules Kabuterimon around him, which shows that that's down the road here. I'm guessing pretty shortly.
Hopefully.
I even liked that because I don't generally watch the when Izzy does his little "Who's That Pokemon" segment at the end. But at the end of this one, he does one on Blitz Greymon, and he's commenting about like Tentomon keeps like saying like, "Oh, that's great, that's awesome." I was like, I wonder if he'll do something like that soon. And like,
yeah,
really, Izzy? I wonder too. So I honestly I've always liked Kabuterimon and like his entire line, but I'm like really liking the kind of personality they've been putting into him. And especially his relationship with Izzy. So like I'm actually kind of invested in what's going on with those guys. So like I'm really kind of rooting for Tentomon to get his mega soon.
Yeah. Wait, with how invested I am, it's in the order of Tai, because the story is so focused on him, and then Izzy and Tentomon, and then right now Mimi. Which we're moving on to like the preview.
So if we want to just give a quick a quick aside to what the next episode preview. So you know how we've been saying for the last couple weeks that we keep getting these little asides to what like Joe, Mimi, and Matt are doing, and Mimi's been having this adventure with a bunch of rock men. I guess we're finally gonna go see what that's been about.
I'm not gonna lie. After all these episodes of major plot development, I am actually more hype about this Mimi episode that's coming up than what I have been for the previous few.
So I am excited that they're finally going to go deal with this. But so I mentioned earlier that I have some concerns about this episode specifically. This is yet another major event that like almost half the team is not involved in. Because like we had the first major event that was strictly a Matt and Ty thing,
which I'm fine with that. The first major event because it's the whole
that was fine. And then we had the fight with Digimon. That was a Matt, Ty, and TK thing. And then this one, we Matt, Joe, and Mimi are missing still. They're not involved in this at all. And it's like, at what point are we just going to keep everybody together? Just like, I want all the children, I want them to be in a big group, and I want them to stay as a big group.
Yeah. Well, with Matt, Ty, and TK and Devimon, at least that is still a story that is focused on them. When it comes to the bigger Saving the World event at large, aside from the very first arc with the missile, everything else just seems to be more of a team effort, even when they were separated.
Yeah, I'm just.
But not the satellite thing.
Yeah, it's just. I think it gets at the root of a bigger problem that I have with this show is that they keep splitting everybody up. I mean, I'm pretty sure we've complained about it a number of times on this show. Yeah. It's just like I want every character to matter. And it just feels like to me that they're shoving they're shoving characters aside when they like don't have something to do with, have something to do for them. And that isn't so much that like, okay, well, this story is focusing on these characters. So these characters will be off to the side because they're not as important. That says to me that they either couldn't think of anything to do with them or they didn't want to do anything with them. And it's like, I've said before that I think this, especially this iteration of Digimon, I think it works so well when you have every character together, everyone is playing off of each other. Like the few episodes we've had earlier in the season where the entire team was together, like I felt like had a lot of really good writing, and I thought the group dynamic was really good. And even though we have like most of the team together, there's still a few members missing. And it's like, I just want everyone to be back together. I want that team dynamic back. And I know we're only like halfway through the season if we're sticking to the 60-something episode run that it's been reported. So there's plenty of time because we're only at the halfway point. So there's plenty of time for them to all get back together and really get back to that dynamic. I'm just tired of the kids being split up. I just want them back.
I guess the only way that I could feel relief about this whole separating thing or alleviate my concerns is that if Mimi, Matt, and Joe either they are separated or get back together somehow, but still on their own have a major plot relevance discovery throughout their journey that would help the team further once they get back together.
I think I would agree with that. If it is revealed that like, hey, these guys, while not in the main group, are off doing their own little thing, and it is relevant to the overall thing, that I think I could probably forgive that. But so far, it's just we keep getting snippets of like Mimi becoming the rock queen, Joe being trapped in a hot spring, and Matt running through the wasteland. That's all we've seen of them doing. So maybe next week we'll get some more info about what Mimi's been doing. I don't know. Just looking at the episode titles for the next couple episodes, I don't exactly know what's going to happen. The next couple episode titles are pretty vague.
the next episode is called Mimi's War.
Mimi's War, which I'm like, I'm down with that.
Yeah. Well, actually, before the preview, the whole Digimon, whatchamacallit, encyclopedia thing, the preview of the next episode is Leomons. So we might have...
Okay. So when... So like I said, I don't watch these like Izzy's Digimon Encyclopedia bits very often. So that silhouette that he shows at the end of his segment, is that who is going to be the next one?
That's the next one that he'll talk about, and usually it's one that have shown up in the very next episode or the previous episode. So it's like within 1 or 2 episodes.
Well, what I'm saying is that is the Digimon who's in silhouette at the end of his segment, is that pretty much guaranteed to be like the subject of the next of his next segment?
Yes, that's always the next segment. But it depends if the actual Digimon will show up in the episode. It's usually the same episode or the episode beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's Leomon, then I'm thinking that maybe Mimi would have something to do with Leomon's resistance movement thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, I could get down with that if that's what's going on. They're like because Leomon's got his own little thing going, and so if Mimi is hooking up with Leomon and helping him out, then I think I could like forgive her not being around for the big fight this time. But I guess we'll have to wait and see on that.
Yep.
Well, guys, I think that about does it for this week. Please let us know what you thought about these episodes. You can find us on all of our places and whatnot. I don't think I've said it on this show yet, but we are part of the Geekly Grind podcast network now. We are a part of a larger family. Everyone, everyone's been real nice, real supportive about us joining with them. And I'm hoping that kind of brings in some new listeners. So if you are a new listener to Talking Mons, thank you for being here. We do appreciate your support. And if you like cartoons, check out our other show, the Ink and Paint Club. I know it's kind of been we've been doing a lot of like bi-weekly episodes for a while now, just because it's been easier for everybody's schedule. But I think we're officially going to be making Talking Mons a bi-weekly show that's going to come out every other Thursday. So go ahead and just like keep that in mind, everybody. So we'll usually be talking about 2 episodes at a time, just to kind of give us more to talk about, but it's also easier just for all 3 of our schedule to do that. So
yeah, and actually surprisingly, usually the story lines up with 2 episodes.
Yeah, doing 2 episodes and 2 episodes a show here has actually worked out pretty well so far. Our 2 episodes today didn't really have too much to do with each other, but that happens sometimes. But let us know what you thought about this episode, where you think the story is going from here. What's Mimi been up to? Is she like queen of the resistance movement now? Is she gonna be like Commander Mimi and she's gonna have like a military hat or something? She's gonna trade her hats in. Thanks everybody for listening. Stay safe out there, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye bye.